The moment my wife heard her female boss ask if I was available for coffee, everything changed. But let me back up to how we got there. It was a Saturday afternoon when my wife told me about her company's annual barbecue. She mentioned it casually while scrolling through her phone, barely looking up. "Oh, by the way, there's this work thing next weekend. You should probably come." Should probably come. Not, "I'd love for you to meet my colleagues," or "it'll be fun." Just a reluctant invitation. An obligation, not excitement. We'd been married for 8 years, and lately I'd started noticing things. Little things. Things that on their own seemed harmless. But together, painted a picture I didn't like. The way she'd changed the subject when I walked into the room during her work calls. How she suddenly became busy on her phone whenever I tried to talk about our day. The distance that had crept into our conversations, still I agreed to go. Maybe I was curious. Maybe I just wanted to see what her world really looked like. The barbecue was held at the company's headquarters, a modern office building with a large outdoor patio. As soon as we arrived, my wife's entire demeanor shifted. She walked faster, putting distance between us, without making it obvious. When colleagues approached to say hello, she gave vague introductions. "This is my husband," she'd say, never using my name, never adding anything about what I did. Just, "my husband," like I was an accessory she had to bring along. I watched her transform throughout the afternoon. With me standing nearby, she was quiet, almost withdrawn. But when I stepped away, I could see her from across the patio, laughing loudly with her male colleagues, animated, alive. A version of her I hadn't seen in months. The contrast was striking and insulting. I'm not an embarrassment. I run my own small business. I'm in good shape. I dress well. Yet watching her, you'd think she'd married beneath her station. By the third hour, I'd had enough. I was standing near the bar when I noticed someone watching me, not with politeness but with interest. Her boss, the regional director. She was an attractive woman in her early 40s, confident, composed, and unlike everyone else, she looked at me like she actually saw me. She walked straight toward me. "You must be the mysterious husband I keep hearing about," she said with a warm smile. "Mysterious?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "Well, your wife talks about work constantly, but she's remarkably tight-lipped about her personal life. Makes a person curious." We started talking, and for the first time all day, the conversation flowed naturally. She asked about my business, seemed genuinely interested in my thoughts. She laughed at my jokes, and I found myself relaxing. After about 20 minutes, she said something that caught my attention. "I have to say I'm surprised." "Surprised?" I asked. "Well, based on how your wife describes her home life, I was expecting someone completely different." "How does she describe her home life?" She hesitated, realizing she might have said too much. "Oh, you know how it is. People vent about relationships sometimes." But her pause told me everything. My wife had been bad-mouthing me to her boss. "What kind of person were you expecting to meet?" I asked directly. She laughed softly. "Honestly, someone less engaging. She makes it sound like you two don't have much in common." I looked across the patio. My wife was laughing with 3 male colleagues, not glancing my way once. "Apparently we don't," I said. Her boss followed my gaze and nodded. "She's ambitious. Some people get so focused on climbing the ladder that they lose sight of what really matters." "Is that your diplomatic way of saying she's been bad-mouthing her husband?" "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." She studied me for a moment. "You're sharper than she gives you credit for?" That earned her a smile. And then she said something that would change everything. "Are you available for coffee sometime?" Her tone made it clear. This wasn't a networking question. I smiled. "That's a flattering offer, but I'm married." I gestured toward my wife, who was still across the patio. Her boss looked surprised. "She's your wife?" "For 8 years now." She nodded slowly. "She never acts like a woman who's happily married." Before I could respond, I heard quick footsteps. My wife appeared beside me, her smile tight. "There you are!" "I was wondering where you disappeared to." She was lying. She hadn't cared where I was until now, until she saw me talking to her boss. "I was just getting acquainted with your husband," her boss said smoothly. "He's quite interesting." "Oh, he can be," my wife replied, her tone sharp enough to cut glass. Her boss smiled slightly. I was just telling him how much I'd enjoy continuing our conversation over coffee. That single sentence shattered my wife's composure. Coffee? She repeated, her voice trembling. Just a friendly chat, her boss clarified. I almost laughed. For the first time in months, my wife was jealous. Jealous of a man she'd spent the entire day pretending didn't exist. After her boss left, my wife turned to me, furious. What was that about? What was what about? You were flirting with my boss. I stared at her. Your boss was being polite. You should try it sometime. Don't you dare turn this around on me. Really? Because all afternoon you've acted like I'm an embarrassment. When exactly did you introduce me by name? Or include me in a single conversation? She hesitated. This is my workplace, she said quietly. I need to maintain a certain image. What image is that? Professional? Or single? It's about presentation, she said. You're very blue collar. There it was. The truth. She was embarrassed by me. I nodded slowly. So I don't fit into your executive lifestyle? That it? You're twisting my words. No, I'm just hearing them clearly. We stood there in silence until I said, You don't want me, but you don't want anyone else to have me either. Her face fell. I'm done pretending that being disrespected by my own wife is normal. I turned to walk away. Her boss was still near the dessert table, pretending not to look. I approached her. I've been thinking about that coffee invitation, I said. And I'd like to take you up on it. My schedule just opened up. Considerably, she smiled. Tomorrow at 2? Looking forward to it. As I walked to my car, I could hear my wife calling my name, but I didn't turn around. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. Later that night, her boss, Diana, texted me the coffee shop address. And that coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into weekends. And weekends turned into something real. 3 months later, Diana and I were still together. My ex-wife? She'd been transferred to another office. Her promotion, quietly shelved. Turns out the company didn't like how she treated her husband in public. Apparently, character still matters. Diana looked across the table one evening and smiled. You know, she said, your ex-wife was right about one thing. You were too good for her. She squeezed my hand. She just got the reasoning backwards. I laughed softly. Because she was right. My ex wanted a husband who made her look good. Diana wanted a partner who made her feel good, and that made all the difference. Outro for channel use. Our story has come to an end. If you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe. It helps us more than you know. I've selected 2 other videos I'm sure you'll enjoy. Click on one and I'll see you in the next story.